Hi guys, this is Erica Weston with Fox Sports Midwest, and you're listening to my favorite St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio.
Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by Manscaped, the very best in men's below-the-waist grooming.
Oh my God.
Get 20% off and free shipping with promo code LGB at manscaped.com. Look good, smell good, feel good with Manscaped.
As the world's only personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment and your DNA, ID Life provides its members with high-quality ingredients backed by pure science.
It's science.
Check out rockinthatidlife.com and speak with Dustin about how you can reach your goals today. That's rockinthatidlife.com.
Center Ice Brewery is a proud sponsor of Let's Go Blues Radio. Visit centericebrewery.com today to schedule a no-contact curbside pickup or make a reservation in their awesome tap room. That's Center Ice Brewery, located in Midtown St. Louis. Let's go Blues! Welcome to Season 9, Episode 26 of Let's Go Blues Radio. We're the often imitated, but we are never duplicated, the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast. Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by Manscaped.com and by rockinthatidlife.com and by centericebrewery.com. So check out our sponsors and help us out. Help them out. We're broadcasting live this Wednesday, March 10th, 2021. This is franchise episode number 292 all time. Your hosts tonight are yours truly, Curt Price, Bill Day, and Jeff Ponder. And for your listening pleasure, for the next little while, we'll be talking St. Louis Blues hockey. To interact with the show on social media, we are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just do a search for us. If you're listening to the show, I'm assuming that you guys can all use the internet. We are dual live streaming right now on YouTube and Facebook. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the show, smash that bell, and so you can get notifications when we do go live. Jeff and Bill. Jeff is he's not on assignment. He is en route, I guess you'd say. So he should be here in a second. Bill, how you doing, sir?
I'm well. I'm rocking my brand new Habs reverse retro sweater tonight, waiting for their game, which doesn't start for another 25 minutes because NHL, thank you. But yeah, I'm doing well. Happy to be here. Hope I can help the team.
Excuse me. I got LA and Anaheim on the TV right now since I have yet to log out of my NHL app and log back in on my Roku. I keep forgetting to do that. And every time we start the show, I go to put one of the games on and it says no video feeds available. So apparently I've got to log out and log back in. I keep forgetting to do that on my Roku.
You got to fix that.
In my office, my studio. So whatever. First world problem. We launched a couple weeks ago or a week and a half ago. Whatever it was, we launched a Discord server. If you go to letsgoblues.com/Discord, DISCORD, you can check that out. Some more information about that. It's basically a chat room on steroids kind of thing, where you can go and you can chat with Blues fans, but you can, via texting, chat messaging, but you can also do it with a microphone, with your voice. So there are rooms set up for that. And we're on there every once in a while after shows. To chat, and we're on there every once in a while after games to do post-game chats and things, which has been a lot of fun. On there talking with people, there's been a handful of folks in there. The times we've been in there after games and after shows talking, so it's been a lot of fun. So if you guys want to check that out, letsgoblues.com/Discord, DISCORD, and there's instructions. There's a join now link. If it's Discord, might look confusing to people. Just join and log in and check it out and. It's not too bad once you're hang of it.
Yeah, slight learning curve, but if you've figured out how to, live stream a podcast or, anything like that, it's not difficult.
Yeah, it's like what like I said, like a chat room on steroids kind of thing. So, and Jeff has joined us. Sir, how are you?
Oh, I'm great.
I mean, put you on the
Still
spot there
trying to
before your headphones get on.
Yeah, still trying to get everything going. But hey, everybody, good to be here. And hello, you attractive men. Have you guys gone over Bill's jersey yet?
He mentioned it, and I just say how nice it looked.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
Yeah, Austin asked about it in the chat, and it is the Jesperi Kotkaniemi number 15.
One of the more fun names to say in the NHL.
Exactly. It was between this or Carey Price. Only ones available at this point. Very, very hard to get one of these jerseys. I actually had to buy it from Tricolor Sports, the Montreal Canadiens' their team store. It's amazingly it got here within a week. Going through customs and everything. Wow. So I was impressed.
Don't you have a Price jersey already?
Exactly why I went with Kotkaniemi.
Okay. So, oddly enough, I do not have a Price jersey.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think I've told the story that when Carey Price first came up in the NHL, there was I was looking for a graphic online for sticks, hockey sticks, for something I was putting together, some kind of graphic or something for letsgoblues.com, I think it was. And so I did a search and I found a row of hockey sticks like behind the bench, just like a close-up, and it showed the players' names on the sticks. And I didn't think much of it. Oh, it's a nice little stock photography of sticks. Okay. And then I saw C. Price on one of the sticks. And for a second, I was like, why is my stick here? I kid you not. For like 2 or 3 seconds, I'm like, well, that's weird. My stick is... Oh, no, that's Carey Price. That's not Curt Price. That's... Yeah. Use your brain. That's not Curt Price on Google's hockey sticks.
When did I make the NHL?
Yeah, I was like, what's my stick doing there? Oh, yeah, that's right. He just started playing. And I couldn't tell it was a goalie stick because it was just the handle, right? Just the shaft. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, sorry I'm late, boys.
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, it's fine. We can smell you from here. It's all good.
Yeah.
You can, I'm sure. I literally walked in. I walked in and the wife goes, "Oh, you're going to go do the show without showering?" And I'm like, "Nobody can smell me except myself."
It's not smell-o-vision. Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, guys, you know what I did before I walked on and, walked down here and set everything up? I spritzed myself with a little Manscaped.
Did you?
Little cologne.
Just for us. Well, we appreciate that. Thank you.
For myself.
For
my
yourself.
own sake.
Well, if anybody else wants to enjoy Jeff right now, they can just if you have an old pair of hockey gloves, just put them like under your nose while you watch the show.
Yep.
You might get that. You might get some idea.
That's some 4D shit, right? Is that how that works?
God. Man,
smell-o-vision?
It's so okay. More recently, when I would play, I took much better care of my equipment after I was done playing pickup or whatever. I'd go home and I would air out my bag. I'd take stuff out. I'd wash clothes right away. I would, and I would take care of it so it wouldn't get so bad. And it worked, believe it or not. But man, back in the day, you'd have a game. Say you'd have a game a week in your men's league. You'd have all your equipment in your bag, and after the game, and it's all soaked with sweat, right? It's all wet. And then you put it, say, in your car or in wherever, in the garage or in your room. And the next week, your bag doesn't get opened back up again until the game next week. And when you open your bag for the following week's game and your equipment is still wet with sweat from the week before, that is disgusting. And you have to put it on.
And
for me, that was...
that there's a special only hockey players know the feeling of, oh, that slime is against my skin.
Yeah. And after a while, it's like, after so many years of doing that, you just accept it as a thing and you don't care anymore. It's like, that's how it is. I don't care. I'll shower later. And it takes, you got to scrub those hands to get your hand. I mean, it takes a lot to get that smell of your hands.
For me, it was always the apartment life. It was when I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment and it was like, I have nowhere to put my pads, and I'd bring them upstairs. And, there's a little spot in the utility closet. I kind of customly fit everything in there. So most times it was like, this sucks. I'm just going to leave it in my car, So yeah, same thing. Mm-hmm. Awful. And like, it's funny now I like hang shit up to dry.
Yeah.
I wash my clothes after every time I play, my shirt I wear under my jersey, my jock strap. I wash it all. And it's just funny now, like when that does happen, when I have to like put on wet equipment, I'm like, ugh, how did I do this? Like every time I played before.
I mean, I had the best so many years playing men's league and pickup. I would have a bottle of Febreze at home, and after I take the stuff out of my bag, I'd quickly spritz my equipment with Febreze, just to get rid of all that crap. It's weird how much you grow up with equipment smell, or you can grow up. I guess some people don't. I know. I think it was Jeff, Bill, or maybe it was you. Somebody was telling the story one time in the winter. We had a game in the locker room. Someone opened their bag and said, "Oh man, my bag was out in my shed or something, and it was cold and freezing, and their equipment was frozen from the sweat, from being sweaty and wet the week before, and it was just like all their hockey pants were like starched. They were so stiff from being frozen. From
sweat. That was Jeff. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. No, I had during my playing days, I would do the same thing. Like I'm very lazy, didn't want to take the bag out of the car.
That was work.
During my playing days, I had 2 hatchbacks that I drove. So
yeah. I remember
nobody wanted to ride my car.
Yeah. I remember Keith's his process before the games with his goalie glove with his trapper. He'd have a hairdryer. Remember that? He'd plug in the hairdryer, and his equipment, his trapper was still, his goalie glove was still wet from the week before. So he'd stick a hairdryer in the glove, like for about 10 minutes while he was suiting up. 15 minutes, and that warm, it was like a air freshener, a hockey glove air freshener for the entire locker room, which made it was a warm. It was just kind of made it that much worse.
Yeah. Freshener is the wrong word.
Yeah, polluter. Yeah, it was like toxic, right?
Definitely the right word.
Oh, the good old days. I can still smell it, man.
I definitely can. I'm still living those good old days, baby.
You're festering in it right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a battle of Manscaped versus the hockey smell.
It's I don't know what it is. It's just the life, right? This is what we do when you play hockey. You just learn to live with the disgusting smell that is hockey.
Yeah, but at least
you hope the significant other learns to accept it as well.
Yep.
Yeah, that was.
And if they do, you got a good one, right?
Well, it's always funny when you're with someone for a while and they understand and they've come to accept the hockey smell. Because you can talk about it, and it's hockey smell is just one of those things. It's a unique scent that does not exist in any other sport anywhere. Hockey smell has its own smell. It's something different. It's not just BO. It's something different. It's like BO and mold and I don't know, rancidness.
We had a tournament like the week before COVID. All the shutdowns started last year around this time, really, and we were making the joke like, they're not going to shut the rink down because this is where COVID comes to die. The hockey state will take care of COVID.
Yeah, that'll be a good fight. Let's see that under a microscope.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, let's get off the scents and get into the tastes. So our official beer is episode number 292.
Wow, what a segue!
I'm the master of the. I'm the master of segues. Not really. That's a lot.
Yeah.
You just listen to last week's show.
You mean the one you edited out?
Right. Well, the YouTube one is still there. It's like here's a segue, and then we just do it. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. My handle is at cprice12. Jeff's is at jponder94. Bill's is at Billy Blue Note 33. Bill, what is your beverage this evening?
My beverage of this evening is courtesy of special delivery by one Curt Brace 12.
Nice.
Revolving Pale Ale Series number 6, the American Dry Hopped Ale from Sunrise Brewery. Oh, hey, look!
You guys can't have the same beer. That's against the rules.
I'm not drinking it yet. This is my second beer.
We're twinsies. But my second beer is Curt's first beer. So, wow.
Yeah.
We're going all in on this sponsorship.
Well, I was Amy and I were there for last weekend, so saw the Blues lose again. That's the second time in a row went to Sunrise and saw the Blues lose. So that's a trend that's going to have to change because I ain't going to stop going there. So they're going to start winning eventually. How is it, Bill? It's good. You like it?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, nice, good, crisp pale ale. Could crush a couple of these on a show if I were so inclined.
I like that label on that can. It's a cool design. It's simple, but I like it.
Yeah.
The background, cool design. Yeah. The graphic designer in me appreciates it.
Yeah, they do a great job. All of their cans have great designs.
Yes, agreed. Jeff, what's your first beer of this show?
My first beer of the show is something that is coming back on the shelves right now, and I am very happy about that. One of my favorite beers, probably my favorite summertime beer, the Contact High from Four Hands. Yes, it is an IPA, but it is just the right amount of hops, and it's just
the right amount of IPA.
It really is. I mean, it's such a good. And then we talk about the graphics on the can. Like, I love that. It's like an old pinball machine.
Yeah. Four Hands does a great job
stuff.
with graphics too. I love their artwork on their cans and bottles.
Yep. So that is my first beer, but of course, like Bill, my second beer is going to be this wonderful Revolving Pale Ale Series 6 from our friends at Center Ice Brewery.
Mine tonight, and I haven't had a Center Ice beer on the show in a while, so it's funny that I have one tonight when Bill does as well. But I've got, and I got them in my Center Ice glass too. So those are pretty sweet. But I've got the Old Arena Lager, which we're talking about labels. That's pretty cool. Nice drawing of the Old Arena on the label there.
Yeah, that's a beaut, Clark.
Yeah, she's a beaut, Clark. Nope, good classic lager, like it. Good stuff. Actually, when we went there, I got this, which, for those who know, it's a growler, and it's a growler full of beer. So instead of getting bottles, I got the growler. So I've got that to polish off.
You have a Stanley growler.
I do. The Stanley Cup growler, if you will. Yeah. It's a pretty nice vacuum sealed growler. I like it. Which, as all good growlers are.
That is beauty.
She's a beauty fish. Today in Blues history, courtesy of the @STL Blues History Twitter account, March 10th, 1985, Doug Wickenheiser recorded his first hat trick for the St. Louis Blues, his second in his career, in the St. Louis Blues 6-2 win versus the Detroit Red Wings. I miss the Red Wings in the Central. Damn it.
Yeah.
I miss being
especially
in the Central.
The 1985 Detroit Red Wings, who were just god-awful.
Or the 2021 Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah. Things go in cycles.
True. March 10th, 2015, Barrett Jackman got the game-winning goal, scored from outside the blue line with 1:03 remaining versus the Winnipeg Jets. This was if I remember correctly, I didn't look this up, this was a very big goal, standings-wise.
Game winner.
Well, I know that, but I mean, as far as standings goes, I think Winnipeg was chasing us at the time. They were right behind us, I believe, within a couple points. And this really made it difficult for them to catch us. I think that's what it was. Down the stretch.
I remember that game very well because that was when I was in the media, and I remember right after the game, it was Barrett Jackman better be available because he's got a lot of splaining to do after scoring that goal.
Yeah, it was from outside the blue line. And he just kind of wristed it, and it was missed by
Andre Pavlik, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He just missed it,
and that was the knock, right? The Jets, we're starting to become competitive, but the knock was they couldn't get a clutch save from a goaltender, and that was Pavlik's MO. Give up an opportune softie, and that was one of the softest of them all. But yeah, I too remember that goal, and just a huge swing, huge jolt of a momentum. It gave the Blues into the playoffs.
March, and I didn't forget. I saw Darren Grice in the YouTube chat. He requested in the Discord conversation, letsgoblues.com/Discord if you want to find out more information about that, that I check out Narrow Gauge Brewery in St. Louis. And so Amy and I did that last weekend before we went to Center Ice and hung out to watch the game. We made a trip over to Narrow Gauge. So after we get done with this, I'll mention that too. So I did forget. So March 10th, 1976, Gary Unger of the St. Louis Blues broke the NHL record for most consecutive games with his 631st in the Blues game versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. March 10th, 1982. This was cool. I love it when the at STL Blues History Twitter account posts old ads from the paper. This was Play Atari games with Blake Dunlop, Bernie Federico, Wayne Babich, Mike Liute, and Perry Turnbull, the St. Louis Blues. It's an ad for Atari. Atari was huge at the time. So this is 1982. So you could bring your quarters and challenge your favorite Blues hockey stars to a game of Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, Tempest, and more. These aren't arcade games. This is on the Atari. So if you think back, if you remember the Atari back in 1982, which I do, I had Pac-Man, I had Donkey Kong. It was kind of cool at the time to have a version of the arcade at home, but let's be honest, those games kind of sucked. I do believe there's a lot of complaints about Pac-Man on the Atari system and how I don't know, 8-bit-y it was. I mean, what do you expect? It's that's what the system was, but I remember complaints about it. You guys, you didn't go do this, Bill, did you? Like you was.
Oh God, I know. I like seeing this ad today makes me mad at my parents because I mean I would have just turned 6 years old.
Yeah.
These are my favorite players, and we had an Atari. I could have gone and beat Mike Liute in Donkey Kong, and that that would have been great. God,
did you have Pac-Man for Atari?
I think we did.
It wasn't good.
At this point, like I cleaning out the garage, I found Video Olympics. The cartridge.
Oh
for
wow!
Video
Yeah.
Olympics. So I don't know. I just why would I randomly keep that one cartridge?
If anybody wants to look up interesting Atari games, there were basically Atari games that were porn, that were made and sold to play in the Atari system. So give that a look. It's on Wikipedia, I think. There are a number of titles that were made by third parties it was just porn. So 8-bit porn on Atari.
That's hot. Did you guys ever play the ET game, which is rated by many to be the worst game in history?
It was it sold a lot of copies, but not as many as they wanted. Not near as many as they wanted, but a lot of people had it. We had it. It
is awful. It really is. It makes no sense.
There's a documentary on that, the making of it, which is fascinating.
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
And that's the one that people have gone to that like a landfill in Arizona to try to excavate all of the copies that they buried.
They did. They found them. But the thing is that the documentary talked about this guy, this developer, and he was coming off developing a previous game that was a huge success, and he was asked to do the ET game, and he only had, I think it was a couple of weeks or a few weeks to do it, to come up with this ET game. And usually, it took, I think, a few months to develop a game. And he got it done in a couple of weeks, and he said he didn't sleep. He burned himself out trying to get this game done. And when he was done, he was so proud of it. But and then it just flopped. And
well, didn't he say that he brought it to Spielberg, and Spielberg said, "No, you got to change this, this, and this," and they were all terrible suggestions, but they were all on such a deadline. They were like, "We just got to do it. Do what he wants," and it was it made an awful game.
Right. Yeah, it's a great documentary. You get a look. It's on, I don't know if it's on Netflix or YouTube or somewhere, but look for it and give it a look. It's pretty fascinating if you're into that kind of thing. This is not a today in Blues history. This is March 7th, 1988, but it figures a pretty prominent thing in Blues history. It's only a few days ago, so we'll mention it. The trade, I guess, is what you can call it. Hull and Bozak to St. Louis from Calgary, and in return, Calgary gets Rob Ramage and Rick Wamsley. That's, I mean, everyone knows about the trade, but when you see the article, especially Tom Wheatley's take on it, which is kind of funny, because Tom Wheatley kind of criticizes the trade. The Post Dispatch reporter, Tom Wheatley, Blues reporter, he was not about it. He's basically given up too much. Although the headline did say a good trade if Hull becomes a sniper, but it doesn't seem like Wheatley is sold on Hull becoming a sniper. So it's funny to look back on it, and maybe the greatest pure goal scorer in NHL history, and obviously hindsight's 2020. It's a really rough critique of Wheatley's commentaries, but it's just kind of funny to see what someone thought of the trade at the time when he was not that big on it.
Let me ask you guys, the trade, you mentioned the trade, and that is a lot of people still to this day, you say the trade in Blues history, and that's the one they think of. What's the trade in modern times? What do you think it is in the last, I don't know, let's say 15 years?
It's O'Reilly.
What's the trade?
Yeah. O'Reilly, hands
Ryan
down.
O'Reilly.
Gotta be. Not just for multiple reasons. For like this, I'm not saying O'Reilly's going to be at the level that Hull was when he was here, but the heights that he helped take this team to being the playoff MVP, winning us, helping us, being a major factor in us winning a cup, the first cup in franchise history, and the return and the steal. So I mean, at the time, the Hull trade, people might have thought that Calgary won that trade. But I don't think anybody in their right mind, except for some Buffalo fans, a large faction of Buffalo fans, thought that they won that trade at the time. I think pretty much everybody. Oh, yeah, and a cancer in the locker room, right? So that was the knock on him. Couldn't play defense either. No, he was terrible. Defense. No, he was terrible. Cancer, good to get rid of him, and they won the trade. That was so. That's like a cherry on top to that Stanley Cup season, to look back on those conversations that I remember having with Buffalo fans on social media about that trade. And everyone likes to blow smoke up their own team's ass when they've made a trade. They try and spin it to say, "Oh, we won the trade." No, I mean, a lot of people like to say whoever gets the best player in the deal tends to win the trade, which that's, I guess that's the case for most teams, most trades. But this one, I mean, it was obvious at the time that we got the best player. And knowing the players that went back to Buffalo, being a Blues fan, now Buffalo fans will say, "Yeah, well, we knew O'Reilly." Nah, no, you didn't. No, we've seen O'Reilly. You guys were wrong about him. We were right about the players we sent your way, because look what happened. Yep. Where's Berglund?
And
where's Sabotka?
I actually heard about the trade from our friend, ID Life, rocking that ID Life, Dustin Paul. He just texted me and said, "Is this for real? Sabotka for O'Reilly?" And it was like a bunch of question marks, and I'm like, "What the hell is he talking about?" And I went online and that was like the original report. It was like Sabotka and a draft pick for O'Reilly, and I'm like, "What?" And I called him right away. I'm like, "What is happening? This is unbelievable." I mean, I think that was every Blues fan's response. Like, and then you get Berglund off the team and his contract. It was how? Two
bad contracts. I mean, and I'm sure Buffalo felt they were getting rid of a bad contract too. And the money that was due O'Reilly in the offseason after 2019, after we won the Cup, he was due a large chunk of money, and Buffalo didn't want to pay that. So, and that was a large chunk of it was a salary dump on their end. So I mean, when you salary dump a player, you might not get fair value in return, and they did not. I mean, it's one of the biggest train robberies in NHL history, in my opinion. I mean, considering what happened right after the fact, oh my God, how often do you see a trade like that pay off in dividends like it did the very next season? The very next season,
Right. Yeah, almost never. Jesse Hill does bring up another very underrated trade.
yes,
But with Tara for Shen.
that was another one, and
Yep.
I was not. I mean, not as ecstatic. I mean, I was a Laterra basher at the time because I mean, who wasn't? I mean, that his play and that contract that Armstrong stupidly signed him to, the extension, was just dumb. And so for us to unload that, and to get Shen, I was ecstatic. And Shen's been better than I thought he was going to be with us. I mean, I liked Shen at the time, but he's been, to me, Shen is the stereotypical St. Louis Blues player, if there is such a thing. He is.
Yeah, I agree.
He is the model guy that Blues fans love. He would fit in back in the '80s in the Blues. He's just that kind of guy. He
Plays a big game.
Yeah, he plays a big game. He plays physical. He doesn't take any crap. He's productive. He's a colorful guy. What's not to love? And I know that when his contract was due to be up the following season, and there was rumors that a lot of social media was like, "Oh, Shen's gone. They're going to move it. They're going to trade him at the deadline. He's gone." And I always stood pat. I was like, "No, I don't want. I mean, I don't want Shen to go, and I don't think he's going to go. I think he's a guy this team really needs." And I was like, I understand why people think that he's the guy to go, because he was going to be asking for a lot of money, and he's just a guy that contract's up. He's the kind of guy that just goes somewhere else, But then he ditched his agency and he got somebody else. He wanted to stay here, and boom. So not only is the kind of player on the ice that Blues fans love, but he basically made leaps and bounds to make it so he could stay here by ditching the agency that Petro had that made it so difficult to resign here. He signed somebody else to make sure he got re-signed here. So I mean, what's not to love? I mean, I don't even care. I mean, maybe we'll discuss this more at the end of his contract, but I want Shen here for life based on that alone. If you're gonna ditch your agency and get somebody else in here just so you can stay here, and you're productive and you're a good player, and there's, who has complaints about Shen? Anybody about anything, really?
And I said on this show before that back in that day, back when all that was happening and O'Reilly first stepped up, and the Blues were in that terrible tailspin right before they went on their run in 2019. I remember saying, like, people want to build this team around Schwartz and Tarasenko. I want to build this team around O'Reilly and Shen. I think those two are the guys that you need to look at. And nothing against Schwartz and Tarasenko, but those are the guys that I want to have this team modeled after, to keep them, with this team until they retire. That's the kind of guys I want on my roster. And I a lot of people still say that Shen extension was poor. I disagree. I think he's still, by the end of his contract, he's still going to be playing decent enough hockey. It's not going to be a Steen situation where he's playing fourth line minutes. He might be on the third line, but I think he's still a guy that you can put out there on the penalty kill. Yeah. He'll still be a power play guy. I think he's going to be just fine by the end of his contract.
I agree. I think Shen is the kind of guy that would kind of like Steen at the end of his career, where you move him down the lineup and he finds an excellent role down the lineup. When he is no longer quite as productive offensively, he can play more of a checking role. I think he would excel at that. I agree completely. So a third or fourth line guy, Shen, at the end of his career here, would be fantastic, I think. So Rob Ramage was part of this trade going back to Calgary when we acquired Hull. Rob Ramage was sporting quite the stash at the time. I think the article even refers to him as a Tom Selleck-like guy. I think that was one of the arguments Wheatley made for it's a negative, a con for sending Ramage away. Is that he's attractive, ladies like him. He's got the Tom Selleck look going. But maybe nowadays if you got that mustache going, you could you manscape that thing off your face, and because I don't know if that's. I mean, we got Falk who's got the stash going, so maybe we'll manscape for him. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
I'm telling you, you better be prepared because when I yank it out, everybody in that audience, with the exception of my wife, is going to be running for the exits.
Get prepared for St. Patrick's Day with Manscaped if you're going to get a little lucky. Manscaped is the global leader for below-the-waist grooming and an official sponsor of Let's Go Blues Radio. You and your partner will get lucky, all right. Their Lawnmower 3.0 will showcase your pot of gold like no other. Get the Performance Package now to receive their 2 free gifts, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. To ensure you have the best tools for your family jewels, visit manscaped.com and use promo code LGB for 20% off and free international shipping. Also, every purchase at manscaped.com goes towards contributions made to the Testicular Cancer Society to bring awareness to testicular cancer, men's health, and early cancer detection. There's gold at the end of the rainbow with Manscaped.
It's a hard life picking stones and pulling teats, but sure as God's got sandals, it beats fighting dudes with treasure trails.
As far as Manscaped go, do not forget also about their famous liquid formulations. Their Crop Preserver, Ball Deodorant, and Crop Reviver, Ball Toner to maximize your ball hygiene and routine. So if you don't practice good ball hygiene, what good are you? Who wants to be around you? Don't be sitting next to me at Sunrise Brewery when you don't practice good ball hygiene. Come on. Nobody wants
I don't
that.
right now. Is that an issue?
No, you're not practicing good ball hygiene right now? Well,
not right at this moment. I'm sitting in my own filthy sweat.
I was going to say it's kind of hard after a game, but you do have the Manscaped wipes that you could take advantage of after a game too to clean that shit up.
I do have that. I should have used those. What was I thinking?
I don't know.
You could have totally taken advantage of the Manscaped spot and gone and taken care of some business.
I could have done a live spot on the show of how to use the ball wipes.
You could have. I may have
well,
to
you
like.
Could still.
I could. Yeah, I could censor that out with a nice little sensor block over you. Yeah, we could do that, and
it'll be a very tiny sensor block,
and then get dropped by the sponsor. All of those sponsors, by the way, all of our sponsors just drop us overnight.
I think Dustin will throw more money at us. Dustin will be like, "Yes, more of that."
20% off plus free shipping with the code LGB at manscaped.com. Check that out. You're at your computer probably right now, right? Or maybe your phone. Maybe you're in the car. But if it's your computer listening, just open a new tab. Let manscaped.com. Check out what they got. Oh, you like that? Okay, give it a try. LGB, 20% off, free shipping. It's a good deal. So some Blues topics. There was I hear that we went on a successful road trip, guys. 6 games, 4-0-2.
Talking to some people, you might not think that it was successful.
When you lose 2 overtimes you get 2 OTLs in a row. There's a
one with a 3-0 lead at one point.
Yeah, right. I know. So I mean that's the kind of game where you don't say, at least we got a point, which the show title is hinting back to the that's a very what's the word I'm looking for? You have to be very selective in the games. You use that term. There are situations where when you lose in overtime, you can't always say, at least we got a point. You're up 3-0. It's never good to lose in overtime. You're up 3-0 ever.
That's
ever,
a loss at that point.
Right. But they did get a point. That is a positive, but it's not one you want to talk about because that's like way down the list as far as things that you can talk about and smile about for that game.
Well, and I mean you can sit here and say, well, at least they got a point, but at the end of the season, maybe there's a standings difference, and you say if they got one more point, then all of a sudden they're in the number 2 seed and have home ice advantage or whatever it is. So it goes both ways. So when you look at a game like the game against LA, you're up 3-0 and you lose. Yeah, they got a point, but they should have had 2. So really, at the end of the day, it's the exact opposite. It's, they should have gotten 2 points.
Right.
Well, just from a fan perspective, I think it's even worse because it's a late game on the West Coast. And, after a long day, who wants to sit up, watch a game and your hopes are dashed that drastically. Just left a really bad taste in my mouth.
And it was
all went down.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the Kings too, and it was such a good start to that game. This is the game that I was at center ice with Amy, and oh my gosh, up 3-0 early in the first period, pretty early in the game. The people at Center Ice Brewery were just hooting and hollering. There were people at the bar buying shots, and a shout out to Jack Adams from the Let'sGoBlues.com forums back in the day. It was funny because I was at the bar and at Center Ice, and I tweeted out I took a picture of the taps and the TVs and stuff, and tweeted out and said, "Yeah, I'm at Center Ice, enjoying the game. Come on down." And I guess the guy a couple seats down from us at the bar, he was on Twitter and following the Blues Twitter feed, and he saw my tweet, and he he was like, "That." He looks to his right, looks at it, and he's like, that is like 5 feet from me, 10 feet from me. It's right there. And so he turns to Amy, and I'm told this later, he goes, is that Curt Price? And I was like, what the hell? So, because he saw my tweet. It's probably pretty surreal to see a tweet online, like right where you are, just almost exactly the same spot where you are. So, yeah, and then it turns out it's Jack Adams from the Let'sGoBlues.com forum. So that was kind of cool. So we had a nice conversation about stuff, and then during the game, it was fantastic start. They brought a big bottle of Fireball, and we were just doing shots for after each goal, and I was like, okay,
never again.
After the
I will never touch Fireball ever.
After the third one, I was like, I'm not doing this because we could win this game 8-0 at this rate. And I'm not doing 8 shots of Fireball. I didn't want it. I mean, I'm not a Fireball guy. I don't like Fireball, but if someone gives me a Fireball shot, okay. I mean, it's okay. I chased it with an old arena lager, right? So, and then the third one, I was like, geez, I can't, this is the last one, guys. And this is the first period, but little did I know that I would not have the opportunity to even take another shot. So,
well, I mean, you're leaving out the fact that every Kings goal you did 3 shots.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Could you imagine? That'd be 9, 12. God, that's a lot of shots. I can't even do the math.
No,
where's Adam Gold? You need him.
Who does 3 shots? Is that a thing? 3 shots for the opposing goal? That's nuts. Who does that? No. That's nuts. That's crazy talk.
That's poppycock. I'm talking here. So what happened in that game? There was something really important that happened. Curt, what was it?
Something really important happened?
It's in your notes. It's the first note.
The Tarasenko returned. Right. I was
trying to set you up.
I was looking at the goal scorers for this game, and you're like, something really important happened. I'm like, oh, really? Whose goal? I was gonna say Nathan Walker's first goal of the game. First goal of the season?
Well, no, by the way, that was a sick ass goal too.
Yeah. But yeah, Tarasenko made his return, which was fantastic. And I had said that he's going to score. This is the way Tarasenko does things. He's a flair for the dramatic. If he's fully healthy and healed like he says he is, then he's scoring this game. And I thought he had some chances. I thought he looked good. I just, he couldn't pot one. I don't know. You guys thought he looked. How'd you guys think he looked?
Yeah, well, I especially loved the overtime drive. I mentioned that on Twitter. I was impressed because he that's a move we've kind of seen him make before, where he'll stop on a dime and then just rush to the net, stick handle around guys, and then just pot it top shelf. And that's what I was expecting when I saw him make that drive right before the Kings goal was scored. I was like, this is it right here. Yep. He's going to score.
Me too.
And because I mean, Curt, to go by what you said for 2 weeks, he's going to score in his first game.
I felt it, man. And I did.
I felt it too. I thought the same thing, especially when that overtime. I'm like, Tarasenko is going to find a way to get open, and he's going to score. And like the fact that he has not, I mean, yes, he played in the bubble, but clearly he was not himself. The fact that he has really not played a good Tarasenko game in a year, and he stepped in and still made that play. I think if he's a seasoned guy, if we've got 4 or 5 games under his belt, I think he's finding a way to score that goal.
Yeah.
And so, yes, it sucked to see the Blues lose in overtime. But the big positive from that was seeing that drive by Tarasenko made me say, he's back. I mean, maybe he's not 100%, but he's more than 50%. He's still got the moves. He's still got the shot. He's still got the confidence, which is what's most important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, his instinct isn't gone, and I thought the exact same thing. It just sucks that the puck rolled off his stick, and then Shen made just a terrible decision to try to lunge for the puck. You don't do that in 3-on-3 overtime.
After we're like worshiping Shen earlier in the show. now let's come back down to earth a little bit.
That guy's terrible. Fuck him. Where's Carl Gunnarsson? He should have been out there instead.
Oh.
No, but overall, I like Tarasenko's game. I've got as many concerns as anybody else about him, but just. And again, I said this the morning of, I've never been, I can't remember the last time I was excited to see a guy come back from injury. Seeing him come back and seeing him be able to still get shots off, still, get open for and he's still got it, he's still there. It's just a matter of getting the timing back a little bit. Again, I think if he does that play 5 games from now, that's in the back of the net, no question, because that's the type of player he is.
Brandon Toma in the YouTube chat says, every time I tune in, Jeff is struggling with math. Made me laugh.
If you, Brandon, if you were to hang out with me, you would probably you'd be saying the same thing about every 3 minutes. I'm not a math guy. I make myself people they pull out the phone and do the calculator. I try so hard. I'm like, no, you are going to actually do this, even if it's just a simple arithmetic. And I'm always like, God damn it, I got to write it down at least. I'm awful.
So the Blues do lose this game in overtime. After being up 3-0, they lose 4-3. Disappointing end, but Tarasenko does return. He doesn't hurt his shoulder, apparently. That's a good thing. So silver linings in this game. This is the first. Okay, so let's see. Parayko went on the IR. That was after the last game. So let's talk about the next game.
Which hey, real quick, can I ask what the hell took so long?
Well,
to get him on IR.
I don't know if they had a point to do it until Tarasenko came back.
Well, I know, but it's just like because you can retroactively put people on IR. It's clear he's not going to be back for a while. Why not go ahead and put him on there?
Well, I don't know. I guess they felt like they didn't have to. Maybe they. I don't know. Maybe it's. Maybe
that does. You know what that does? That really fucks up fantasy players because fantasy, ESPN and Yahoo, they follow exactly what they will not put a player on IR if he's not actually on IR, and so it's like, damn it, he's not playing. Put him on fucking IR. I don't want to have to drop him. Sorry, mini rant.
No, I mean, I guess we knew it was coming because I think they wanted to make a move. They didn't put him on LTIR, so they didn't have to make a move to bring Tarasenko back based on people who are already out and on LTIR, right? I mean, unless
you're right.
Unless let's see, unless he already is on LTIR.
No.
It's Steen, Bozak, Gunnarsson, and Barbashev are the only people on LTIR.
Yeah,
IR is
no
Parayko. Thomas could easily be on LTIR. He's missed already. I mean, my God. So I don't.
The only reason you'd put it, and I'm just saying the fact that Parayko was not considered IR before is silly. I'm not saying put him on LTIR. I'm just saying, he's not going to play. He's not even skating. Why even? And same thing with Thomas. I mean, but again, I guess it's a salary thing. There's probably inner workings that even the 3 geniuses on this panel don't understand. Jesse Hill, who has Parayko on their fantasy team. LOL. Yes, that's some people do. In a deep league, you're going to have Parayko, but I'm just saying.
Before the season started,
as a whole in the NHL, I hate that. It's like put that guy on IR. I used to have Sidney Crosby, and the Penguins refused to put him on IR when he was out for 20 games. They just, he's day to day. No, he's on IR. Please just put him on IR.
I guess I'd like to have a capologist on here to discuss why you wouldn't put Robert Thomas on LTIR. Why isn't he on there already? Why is Bozak on there but not Thomas? Because Thomas, they knew Thomas is going to be out for a long time. Easily 10 games required, right? So why not put him on there and get some cap relief just in case, so you don't have to worry about it later. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know. I guess maybe because Thomas doesn't make a ton of money, and there's not a limited number of LTIR spots, is there? I mean, if
I don't think so.
They've got 4 on there already.
I mean, that would be silly. That'd be silly.
I don't know.
I don't see why there would be.
I'm just saying. I guess because the players that are on LTIR make the most money out of the players that are hurt, except for Parayko. So if Parayko is going to be on IR, and he's already missed 8 games, is that right? So he's going to miss the 10 required. So why not put him and his $5.5 million on LTIR? I don't know. I don't know. It gives you cap space in case you want to use it without having to mess with it later.
You know what? I think I might have a contact that somebody who understands this stuff more than us. So I will work on getting her on the show.
And I'm not saying they should be doing this. I just want to know the reason why. I'm sure there's a good reason. I'm sure it's all, I mean, they know what they're doing with the LTIR stuff. I just would like to hear why and say, oh, okay, I get it. That makes sense.
Hey, real quick, are you allowed to kick people out of the YouTube chat? Because I think you need to kick Austin Lynch out.
I can.
That Tarasenko comment.
He says in 2 weeks, Tarasenko will be out with the ACL tear, which, by the way, you need to have an "and" there, Austin, you fucking high schooler. An ACL tear or something. I just have a feeling he will get hurt again. Austin, shut the hell up. All right.
Wait, so he is commenting. He's predicting that a player that has a history of shoulder troubles is going to have another injury. Wait, ACL?
A different ACL's on fucking
he said
leg.
knee injury.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, get out of here, Austin. You're not welcome to be friends with this show anymore. You're not a friend of the show anymore. I'm revoking that.
I'm going to predict that Austin Lynch tears his taint tomorrow playing NHL 21.
There's your comment of the show. Congratulations, Curt.
How you like that, Austin?
I like it. No, you know what? I'm going to make sure to tear his taint when he plays in the Ponder Cup. How about that?
Yeah. Just pull him aside and just... no. I was like, pull him aside and... Yeah, tear his taint.
Aside, tear his taint.
and just skate away. Yeah.
That went off the rails quickly.
Yeah, it did. I mean, but whatever. It hasn't happened in a while. It's been a couple shows.
Yeah. We're due.
Yeah, next game, Blues lost in overtime in the to Evander Kane and the San Jose Sharks. Which I didn't add that the currently, which I guess is topical because Kane scored in overtime to beat the Blues. But you guys shared the whole story with him and his contract that might get voided, which is interesting.
Yeah, for like bankruptcy reasons. I read it. I read that article twice on The Athletic, and I still don't really understand. Again, it's math, so maybe that's why. But apparently there's something, and it also probably helps the Sharks in terms of, they're losing money right now, just like every team. And it's just, hey, we suck. There's no point in paying this guy what we're paying him for the next, 7 years. If they can void the contract, they're going to do it. So it makes sense, but in that sense, but how can they just do that? You can't just void a guy's contract. This isn't the NFL.
Well,
so you have to have probable reason, right?
I guess that's what they're probably going to lean towards. It was not mentioned in the article, was it not? Where they didn't talk about that, about why they could do that. They speculated that the Sharks might want, like you said, to just not pay him. That's
I don't blame them.
That's incentive for San Jose. But as far as the legal clauses is not paying the man. That's interesting. I'm sure our friends over at Tealtown USA, the San Jose Sharks podcast, do a fine job over there. If they're listening, they sometimes do. If they are listening, chime in and maybe let us know what their thoughts are on the Evander Kane possible talk about voiding his contract, which would be a big deal, and if they're in favor of it, because he can be productive, but
yeah, it's not that he's a bad player. I mean, I hate him as a player because he's not on my team. I'll put it like that. But he's still productive. He's one of their best offensive players.
He's got
clearly in their top 3.
20 points in 23 games. So he's putting up points on a bad team.
But again, like you got to say, what do you have a star player around for on a good team or on a bad team? It's to put fans in the stands. Well, guess what? You're not putting fans in the stands right now. Let's void that contract if we can.
Does Evander Kane draw fans, bring fans into the seats? I mean, does he? I mean, a good team does, obviously. And if he's part of a good team, he's part of it. But I don't think having Evander Kane on your team is going to bring in enough fans to warrant a huge contract. I just don't think he's not that kind of a guy to me. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think there's a little bit of a racial part of it. I think that helps. Because I know that back when the Atlanta Thrashers had Dustin Byfuglien, Evander Kane, who else? They had Johnny Oduya and somebody in goal, I think. And that was like the guys that they promoted on billboards across Atlanta. They said, hey, come to an Atlanta Thrashers game. I think there's a certain aspect of that in terms of marketing. But, yeah, I mean, in terms of being the player, he's not Sidney Crosby. He's not Connor McDavid. I don't know. I mean,
he's on pace for, what is it? I don't know.
He's having a great season.
Yeah, 20 points in 23 games. I mean,
Bill, will he get 40 goals?
He's no Mike Hoffman.
He is no. Few are. No, Mike Hoffman.
No, I mean he's not. He isn't a marquee name. He's a very talented NHLer. Obviously, the reason we're talking about the contract and it possibly being canceled is his off ice issues and the gambling problem.
And let's be honest, the gambling problem, as far as podcasts go, is gold. It's an interesting topic to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially as the NHL is really embracing, the gambling aspect. Right.
That's so. Yeah. It's like, oh, not a good look right now.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, part of me, I saw some of the folks at Teal Town talking, or maybe it wasn't Teal Town, but somebody tweeting about how the Vegas and Sharks rivalry is already dead, just because the Sharks the last couple of seasons. Maybe I just want to watch the world burn, but Evander Kane, Las Vegas, that could be an interesting match. Would he ever play again? If his contract
Anthony
gets
Stewart,
out, where does he go?
Anthony Stewart was the other guy I was thinking of that was on that Atlanta Thrashers team that they promoted.
Yeah, which, by the way, you bring Anthony Stewart up. He's on the Sportsnet panel this year. And my God, if he does not look the part of just like the consummate newsman, I mean, you look at him, you're like, this guy was born to do the news. I mean,
he's got a Bryant Gumbel look to him for sure.
Very much so. I've loved watching him this year. It's great.
There was no Bennington versus Dubnyk rematch on Monday versus the Sharks. Husso was in net. So at first I was really looking forward to Bennington playing against the Sharks just because I like drama and anarchy. But after it was announced that Husso was starting, I thought about it and I thought it was kind of brilliant. Even though the Blues lost this game, I thought that the Sharks were probably going to get, I don't know, hyped up for this game a little more than they would have with Husso and that if Bennington were to start. I think, we'll show him, and I could see them playing well to stick it to Bennington in this game. And I think maybe Berube wanted to just avoid that whole situation.
I don't know if that was it at all. Honestly, I think he wants Bennington to be back to back and this weekend with Vegas, and so I think he's thinking give him a week off. There's a long delay here. They played Monday. They're off Tuesday through Thursday.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So let him have the week off and let him get ready for a back-to-back situation here with Vegas. And, obviously that idea changes if Husso plays one of those games, but I really think it was just a matter of, hey, we're going to let Darren Payne talked about Vladimir Sobotka. Or not Sobotka. Oh my goodness. Oscar Sundqvist. Wow.
Not even close.
I don't know where my head's at. Oscar Sundqvist is ready to come back.
Yeah.
And it's because Sobotka wore 71 and Sundqvist wears 70. That's the only possible connection.
That's got to be what it is. Or the fact that we were talking about Sobotka earlier. But Oscar Sundqvist was ready to come back in this game. And the Blues basically told him, hey, listen, we've got a long layoff here. Even if you think you're 100%, maybe you're actually at 85 or 90, give yourself a couple extra days of rest, and you'll be ready to go against the Golden Knights on Friday. And I think it's the same thing with Binnington. It's just let this guy have a couple days to just get, he had a rough loss against the Kings. Let him get his head straight. Let him get rested if he's got some kind of nagging weird injury. He's got a couple days extra to get to shake it off, and Husso's played fine. Sharks are one of the worst teams in the league. Let's just let the rookie have his game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe, but I mean, they got 3 days off, and he hasn't. I mean, Husso's just started. I didn't look up his. Let me find out when the last time he started, because I mean, it's not like Binnington had played a bunch of games in a row leading up to that point either. So
right, no, it was Binnington only got the one game against LA.
So it's not like he needed. I don't think he needed a rest necessarily, but I mean, if you want to, that's a possibility though. I mean, Husso had just started on the 5th and the 1st, so I mean, they're trading starts almost past few games.
But you're also playing against the Kings, the Sharks. You can even throw the Coyotes in there. You're starting. I mean, you've got what? How many games are left? It's like 16 of the last 21 games or whatever are against the Avalanche, Knights, and Wild, who are all going to play great hockey against you. So it's going to be gut check time for Binnington.
But the thing too with that, I agree. But I think also is that these are bankable points, and I'm not pinning this loss on Husso or saying we would have won the game with Binnington, but I think and again, just to play devil's advocate and to have a debate for the sake of debate, I mean, you could also say that this was a game that had been, I mean, to take 11 out of 12 points on this trip would have been fantastic, but I mean, 10 out of 12 is it's a franchise record. Let's be honest, 6 games straight with points in every game on a road trip has never been done before for this franchise. So it's still really, really good results. 10 out of 12 points we got, which was, I mean, you can't, if we do that every 6-game road trip, we're going to win the division. So there's that. But I think, I don't know. And Husso's played well, so I get that too. I mean, I guess he did earn the start in this game.
He did.
And that's the point that I was going to make. I think Berube saw the fight that Husso has put in, his last few starts. He's looked a lot better. It's like he's finding his game. And so if you go with Binnington and back-to-back and, you go into this long stretch without a game, who knows when the next time Husso's actually going to get a chance. I think it was more about giving Husso the opportunity than it was, sending any kind of message or tactical, tactical decisioning around Bennington not getting the start. I really think it's more about Husso than Bennington.
And let's also factor in the fact that, I mean, if you want to talk about the last game, Bennington was rough against the Sharks that last game. I mean, especially that goal by Kane. We said last week, one of the worst goals we've ever seen him give up before he got pulled. Ville Husso came in and played phenomenal against the Sharks. So it could clearly just be Berube saying, you know what? It just makes sense with a matchup standpoint. We got this one game against San Jose. Let's put the guy in who played great against them last time.
I don't know. I'm still clinging on to my. I'm not going to give San Jose any extra incentive to play harder in this game. That's possible. It's possible, but I agree that actually a bunch of valid points in the show. Good job, guys.
Oh, thanks. You know, it's what we do.
So Parayko went on the IR, got 10 out of 12 possible points, 4-0-2. First time in franchise history, the Blues got points in 6 straight road games, which is hard to believe. Second in the division right now. Granted, we played more games than everyone else. So what place are we in right now, guys? Right now, what place are the St. Louis Blues in?
Are you like actually asking, or are you like saying like what?
I want to know what place are they in. What place are the Blues in right now?
I mean, they're technically in second still, right?
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Right.
I had a back and forth with a gentleman on Twitter who was adamant the Blues were in third place because because it's winning percentage. And I said, no, it's not winning percentage unless they can't get in 56 games. Then they said they're going to go to winning percentage. And he goes, well, they haven't played 56 games, so it goes to winning percentage. I said, they haven't played 56 games because the season isn't over. That's why they haven't played. So he was assuming that until they play 56 games, it is got to be, you got to go by winning percentage because that's more accurate. I said, no, not really, because you can't just because a team has played more games, has games in hand, teams have trailing us, you can't assume they're going to maintain that winning percentage. The standings right now, until the league says otherwise, and if they do switch to winning percentage down the road, that's fine. But until it's otherwise, you have to go by points earned, and that's that. The league is a points-based league. That's how it works.
Well, and I'm standing pat. I know that a couple weeks ago there was a conversation in all of hockey social media of they're not going to play 56 games. They're going to take a break. Maybe we'll end up with 40, 48, whatever. I'm standing pat. They're playing 56 games. I really think the NHL is, we've already got this figured out. We already decided, hey, there's going to be teams that are going to need breaks. We're going to need to take COVID breaks. We're going to need a stretch of time before we really start the playoffs up. And I think no matter what, they're playing 56 games. I mean, unless the COVID-19 just takes a crazy mutation and it starts turning people into zombies, I don't think we're going to have that issue.
I know they wanted to finish the season on a certain date and they want to get playoffs started on a certain date. I get that. But if they're close to 56 games, they're going to delay this. They're going to extend the season 3, 4, 5 days a week or whatever to get this in. They're not going to they're not going to, we got a few teams that are at 54 games or 53 games. Nope, we're going to change the entire outlook of the playoffs and change the standings based on winning percentage, and which could drastically change a number of teams if they haven't gotten 56 games in. They're not going to do that. They're going to get the games in if they're close.
We've got a lot of chat going on actually on both Facebook and YouTube. Real quick, I want to reach out to people here on Facebook. Mike Leon, friend of the show, good friend of mine. Hopefully we are saving a Binner for that tough stretch. And that's what I said. And I agree. I think that you saw Husso play is because we're going to see a lot of Binnington the next couple weeks.
Here's the deal, though. After we play Vegas, we have 2 against LA, 2 against San Jose, and that entire next week. So, I mean, there's 4 games there that aren't particularly. I mean, LA's been better, but you know what I mean. We're not playing Vegas and Colorado back-to-back coming up. I mean, we'll play Vegas after LA twice, San Jose twice, then Vegas, then a big game against Minnesota because they're playing well, and then 2 against Anaheim. So this month we got Vegas and Minnesota coming up after the Vegas series here, and that's it. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games that we really should win. I mean, you can't assume anything, but I mean, is it next month is the tough schedule? Is that what we're talking about? Let's see.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because it's April. Yeah. Okay, April. Colorado. Yeah, 2 against Colorado, 2 against Vegas, 2 against Minnesota, another Colorado. Yeah. So there's that's a gauntlet of games.
Really dumb question. Have they played Minnesota yet?
No, because of COVID.
Yeah, it's canceled.
Right. We were supposed to play them, and that was part of the reason why we got the 7-game stretch against Arizona. So it's crazy that we haven't gotten to see them. And those beautiful, beautiful reverse retros.
They're 14-8-1, 29 points, so 3 points behind us, but they played 3 less games. So they're right there with us. Their winning percentage is a tick above ours, 630 compared to 615. So they're playing better than I think some. I think a lot of people picked them to finish 4th. Arizona to finish 4th. I picked Anaheim. That's not going to happen.
So we've got some cross-platform discussion going on here. YouTube, guys, just so you know, I'm not going to do this the whole show. Jason Miller on YouTube says, "What's up, Mike Leon?" on Facebook. Why don't you just go join Facebook, Jason Miller, if you want to talk to Mike Leon?
That's weird. Yeah, we are dual live streaming on Facebook and YouTube right now. So I guess two friends of mine that I play hockey with that are both very involved in the Ponder Cup every year. So, of course, they're trying to talk to each other through me. In this game against San Jose, San Jose, Mikkola got his first initial goal. The Blues never trailed until overtime when they lost, and they outshot San Jose 26-20. Is Sanford cold again? Because he was hot there for a few games, and people were coming out of the woodwork to all the Sanford folks were like, "Ha, see, told you." And then now he's got no points in his last 3 games, and he actually, and I bring this up because Sanford's such a polarizing topic amongst Blues fans. He pissed me off this game. There was a number of times that he lost the puck, made bad decisions. He had that one break-in chance on the left wing, didn't score. But there were a bunch of, probably 4 or 5 times in this game where he just seemed to make a bad decision, turn the puck over on the boards, or what have you, looked weak on the puck. And so obviously I'm like, well, come on. Where's the production? Keep it going. And it's 3 games straight now with no points and kind of invisible. So I don't know. What do you?
Now the Blues shouldn't trade him because that's how it works, right? As long as he's scoring points, they can trade him for a top player. But if he's not scoring points in recent games, then you can't trade him for anything. So,
what do you think we could have got for him at the deadline last year when he had that great run in the second half last year?
Not much.
Not much. After his 12-game hot streak where he was playing really well. That was his high. I'm not saying we could have gotten a lot for him, but I'm saying that was his peak value and will be his peak value for his entire run here in St. Louis, however long that is. I think
top you could have ever gotten for him was a 3rd-round pick, maybe, if a team was desperate. If somebody got hurt on another roster and they wanted somebody to fill in on the left wing,
which
3rd-round pick, tops.
Yeah, I think if there was a trade to be made based on that, Armstrong would have sussed it out. He's the guy that takes advantage of somebody overvaluing a player. And I think that's what would have had to have happened at the trade deadline last year. And I don't agree that that's going to be the high point. I think we'll see this inconsistency, the ebbs and flows. Yeah, I think you to answer your question. Yeah, right now he sucks again. He's going through one of his dry spells.
It's been 3 games, but yeah.
He's I don't know. Maybe he does wind up leaving here on a free agency deal, but I still think that he's got so much more track in front of him that it's hard to say. It's the easy thing to say about Sanford is just how damn frustrating he is because he doesn't put things together consistently.
Jason Miller on the YouTube chat said, is it really hard? It's really hard for me to believe that we would miss Sanford if he were gone tomorrow, and that third-round pick would have been great. I agree. I would have loved a third-round pick for Sanford last year. I think that would have been a fair return for him based on his production last year. I don't think he's worth that now.
So now that Berglund's gone and Sanford is the whipping boy, I'm going to continue to be the apologist for the whipping boy. I don't think Sanford's been that bad, honestly. I think he has not been great. I will agree with that, but I think it's a polarizing thing because he has become the whipping boy for the St. Louis Blues, and especially now that Justin Falk has turned his game around. And I think it's just easy to see number 12 on the ice, see him make a stupid play and say, oh, that guy's terrible. When Jordan Kyrou might make the same play the next shift, but because Kairou's been good this season, we're not noticing it. And I'm not saying that about you guys. I think you guys fully understand the sport. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying people who are the casual fan, who they go out on Twitter and they just, if you look through their news feed, it's just bitching about Sanford, this and that with Sanford. I think that is the height of the Sanford hate is the casual fan. Did you just say that Kyrou might make the same mistake as Sanford does, but because he's a good player, he doesn't get the vitriol that Sanford does? But I'm just saying,
that's because he's a good player.
No, what I'm saying is it's one play. We put it in a microscope, and you say Kyrou's made a bad play, and maybe you'll get a couple mentions on social media of, well, he made a bad play there. But if it's Sanford, it's amplified. It's 400,000 times what Kyrou would get, and so everybody sees that, and it's easy to just look at that and say, well, Sanford fucking sucks. But it's like, well, maybe right before that he made a good defensive play, but because everybody hates him, nobody's going to bring it up on social media.
Kyrou, I look at all. Me personally, I look at all facets.
I'm not talking about you.
So, but Kyrou has twice as many points as Sanford, and he plays less minutes per game. So there's that.
I know.
So I mean, there's that to be said. He's also a better plus minus by 7. 12 assists compared to 3. And Sanford and Kyrou is much faster, much more dynamic. I get what you're saying. Also Kyrou is young too. I mean, he's allowed to make mistakes as opposed to Sanford.
Not to his head coach.
Well, I mean, okay, as far as the fans
not to Darren Pang.
As far as fans go, fans give rookies slack. Players who have been around for a few years tend to fans have less patience with, and understandably so. I think that's fine. I mean, a player who's been in the league making the same mistakes as a rookie, that probably shouldn't be happening.
I'm gonna give Jesse Hill the actual comment of the show here because I 100% agree with you. I'm a fan of Sanford, but I don't agree with him playing top line minutes. And that is something I've said on this show. I think in a third line role on a healthy team, I think he is a fine player. Again, same with Patrick Berglund. I thought a third line player, he's great. No problems. I mean, he was making more money than he should have, and Sanford's not seeing that. But Sanford's getting the minutes. And side note, NHL 21, Sanford starts on the second line on that game, and I started sitting him because, Jesus, a healthy Blues lineup. How the hell does he crack the lineup?
Yeah,
and he sent me a message that said he's unhappy with his playing time, and I'm just like, fuck you, you're not worth it, buddy.
Yeah, but that's the key though, right? Is on a healthy Blues team, and this is anything but a healthy Blues team.
That's true.
So. We know that he's going to be in the lineup, probably up until May, when we start getting Thomas and Bozak's back. But
and And I'll even say that on a healthy roster, if you have a certain dynamic you want with your roster and he's still getting third, fourth line minutes, I don't hate that. But if you got a healthy roster and he's on your first or second line, that's an issue. That is a serious issue.
I think with his streaky production, I think he's okay on the third line. But man, for a third liner or a fourth liner where sometimes you want more of a physical presence or an energy line kind of a thing going on. I don't think he's weird. I don't think he fits that role. He's got some skill. That's obvious. He has skill. He can go on a tear. But I'm not sure if longevity for the third line or fourth line is where it's at for him. I'm not sure I don't know. Maybe he's other guys on his line play that role, and he can feel free to do some more other stuff and not be as aggressive, offensive, physical wise. I don't know. He doesn't.
It's really interesting to me. Sorry to interrupt, but
no, he seems like a second line guy. With his skill set, if it were to be consistent, his lack of physical play and his lack of what's the word, a desire. He seems like he's so ambivalent sometimes on the ice. That doesn't really bode well for a third or fourth line for me. But maybe I don't know. A healthy team, third or fourth line, maybe that's different. And other guys on his line playing physical, he doesn't have to. Whatever.
And before I make my point, I want to respond to Jesse Hill here in the chat. You've been reading my mind. He says, might as well give Joshua a shot instead on the top line. It's a little much, but I'll say I actually think Dakota Joshua has been fantastic, and I'd love to see him in a Sanford role just to see what he does with it. But I'll add with Sanford that I think he is a guy that you could plug in when you need it, like now on your first or second line. But my God, I just don't understand on a Berube system either. Like, that's the thing that does boggle my mind, that I agree with you guys on. Berube's the head coach here. He has a certain system he likes to coach. Zach Sanford is not an aggressive player.
No.
And yet he keeps getting the first and second line minutes. That is mind-boggling to me. If Berube's coaching this team, Zach Sanford should be seeing very few minutes, and it's surprising to see it.
Well, and again, it all comes back to who's on his line with him. Yeah, not every player on this team is uber aggressive. You're not going to have that. You don't have to have that. As far as physical play goes, you need faster, skilled players, but Sanford's not fast, but he is skilled. And I think in a nutshell, and so we can move on from Sanford, but I think in a nutshell that he will show flashes of good hands around the net, but that disappears for long stretches for some reason. And if that disappears for long stretches, to me, he's not doing a whole lot out there because he doesn't bring a physical play. He's not fast. He's not great defensively. He plays an okay defensive game, but he's not. I just don't think what does he bring to the table when he's getting 1 point over his next 12 games? What's he doing? He's getting power play time for some reason. I'm not sure why that is, but injuries again. It all boils back to that, I guess, right now.
Well, maybe it's the fact that and Curt, here comes a segue. Maybe it's the fact that his nutrition is great, and Berube loves what he does off the ice. And that's why he's seeing these big minutes. We don't know.
Are you saying that he is working with maybe Dustin with some ID life?
Maybe he's rocking that ID life.
I hadn't thought about that. Rocking that IDlife.com.
Hey guys, it's Jeff. I'm constantly finding myself grinding away in the corners with weight loss or muscle gain. Whenever I asked the experts for help, it was never anything feasible for my lifestyle. I spoke with my friend Dustin over at RockinThatIDLife.com, and he explained that there's something known as active fat, which is fat stored in our abdomen that influences hormonal functionality. Because it's in the abdomen, it's close to vital organs. Don't you want something that'll be your third man in? RockinThatIDLife.com offers Slim Plus, which helps remove stored fat and burn it as energy. Slim Plus also includes alpha lipoic acids, which functions as the team bus, transporting nutrients where they need to be stored within your body. This will assist with energy and improve your overall mood. So whether you're looking to put on muscle or lose weight, Slim Plus has your back. Find out more at RockinThatIDLife.com. That's RockinThatIDLife.com, and tell them Let's Go Blues Radio sent you.
You know what that commercial, that ad, the spot reminds me of? It reminds me of the Car Shield commercials. I feel like at times you're kind of like just on the rink, kind of playing and stopping and talking to the camera, and then you keep going. You know.
Well, it's funny you say that because I actually recorded that on the rink. That's a real thing.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm gonna skate around and then I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna say something. Referee's gonna blow his whistle, then I'm gonna say something. That's exactly how that went. So you got 100%.
We should go all mic'd up and then go on the rink and record a spot for someone with ID Life, and just do a Car Shield parody for ID Life. It'd be kind of funny.
You know what? I hate you because now I really want to do that. I think we should.
Yeah, get Dustin out there. And Dustin?
Yeah. Oh, man, that'd be good. We could have him even say, woo!
Oh, man. Okay. Well, I can't imagine. I've never played the woo audio on this show. I hate the woo so much.
That's fine. You don't need to.
No, maybe someday. I'll get over it. We got a huge series versus Vegas Golden Knights this weekend. Was huge a word before 4 years ago? It wasn't, was it?
Oh, it was. No, it was.
Huge? Y-U-G-E?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
No, it was. It was because he said that on the show, the Apprentice. He used to say it on that.
Did he really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't know. I only heard it really after. I didn't watch I did watch The Apprentice for like one season, a long time ago.
Oh, yeah, I never watched it either.
I watched a little
bit. I'm just saying, I remember seeing clips and him saying that.
Okay. It's just kind of funny the terms that are more popular now than what they were 4 years ago. Fake news. Was that even a term either? Fake news 4 years ago?
No, I never heard that before 4 years ago.
It's weird how like that's mainstream now. That's everywhere.
Right. And it was a co-opted term.
It was, it's I'm not getting political here because this applies to everybody that is called fake news. Is that usually people that call someone fake news are fake news themselves. So it's kind of like a deflection kind of a thing.
Yep.
Hey, real quick before we get into the upcoming series, Austin Lynch, dude, I'm going Friday night. Good for him, man. That's awesome. My wife was looking up tickets, going to the game. I'm guessing.
All right, cool, very nice.
And my wife was looking up tickets, and we were just like, nah, like that'd be fun, but nah.
Well, I'd be more inclined to go. I got my shot on Monday, the vaccine shot, and man, for the first 11 hours after I got the shot, it was Johnson & Johnson shot, a one-shot deal, which on one hand I was happy about. On the other hand, it's not quite as effective, but still very effective. But anyway, so about 11 hours, I was fine. Like 15 minutes after, 4 hours after. So after the 4 hours, they say you're really out of the woods as far as like having some kind of major reaction to it. But I'll be damned if 11 hours after the Blues game that night, right at the end of the Blues game, I started to get the chills. And like, so I went to bed. I was tired and got a couple hours of sleep. Woke up, itchy, had like a rash, and that went away after about a half an hour, which is weird. And didn't get any sleep the rest of the night, pretty much. But and then slept from about 6:30 until 1:30. So my sleep schedule was all messed up. That's why I took a nap before the show today to try and get some rest. But so and apparently, hopefully done with the side effects because it wasn't too bad. It wasn't bad at all. It was a minor thing, an annoyance, I guess, if you will. So anybody who's had it that has gotten the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, maybe let me know in the YouTube chat, see if what your side effects are, because I've heard that the side effects aren't too bad, and they weren't. It was a minor thing, a few hours, no big deal.
Well, I'll tell you that it's better than getting COVID-19.
Yeah, yeah, you have had that, so
Yes.
but yours wasn't. You didn't have full blown.
Oh, mine was mild.
Yeah,
it seriously in a way was like having the flu off and on for about a week and a half. That was what mine was like. I can only imagine if it was worse than that. I got lucky, but still, sounds like what you went through was a lot easier than what I went through.
And you mentioned the flu. So when I had the chills, when you get the flu, for those who have had the flu, you don't want the flu. The flu is awful. But so when you get the flu, you'll get the chills, and you'll go to the covers or whatever, and you'll want to move. And it was kind of that way. I was tired. I had the chills. I felt like, oh my gosh, I got the flu, but I didn't have the fever. I don't think I had a fever. I didn't have the nausea, didn't have the congestion, didn't have the sneezing, didn't have coughing, whatever. I didn't have anything except the chills, which that's not a big deal. I was just, get comfy under the covers or whatever, try and get warm or whatever, but it wasn't a big deal. So the flu minus all the major symptoms of the flu, not a big deal. I can't complain too much. The big series, the huge series against the Vegas Golden Knights this weekend, Pietrangelo is out for the foreseeable future. I saw that posted today. I don't know if it came out today or yesterday.
What a bitch.
Yeah. So there won't be any Pietrangelo drama in the Blues Vegas Knights series coming up. Sundqvist is likely to return this weekend. Hopefully that's the case. So he's not far away. Hopefully some other players too are not that far away. Who do we have so after Sundqvist, who is next to return, do you think? Gosh, they're still probably ways away. Maybe De La Rose? You think? He's got to be the next guy, right?
Yeah, well, but does he return? I mean, do you put De La Rose in and take Joshua out?
That's a great question.
I wouldn't. I mean, Joshua's been a surprise, right?
Yeah.
His face-off skill is insane. And if Bozak comes back, yeah, probably take Thomas or take Joshua out. Thomas comes back, yeah, you take. But for De La Rose, I think Joshua's he's got to lose it.
Yeah, he's. I think at this point, again, obviously with the bigger star players coming back, it's his position to lose at this point. If it's a De La Rose and I think that's part of the reason we didn't see Sundqvist either on Monday. And I'm not saying that he's going to beat out Sundqvist for a spot, but I think that's why a big reason why Berube was okay with just telling Sundqvist to just wait a couple days to come back because, hey, we got this guy in the fourth line who's playing great. We don't want to take anybody out at this point because they're playing awesome.
Yeah, and Jason Miller said Joshua is better than De La Rose all day long. Yeah, I agree. That's even though De La Rose was having a nice season. He was playing well.
He was having a good season.
Yeah,
for sure.
I didn't have any complaints about De La Rose on the fourth line, really. But I mean, I think Joshua brings a little bit more right now. I mean, that could change over the next handful of games when players get exposed more. But I mean, so far so good with Joshua with his role that he's currently playing.
As far as who comes back next, I think it might be Nathan Horton.
Nathan Horton. I forgot again to mention the and maybe I'll edit this out later and reorganize the show as far as when we talk about. But the trip to Narrow Gauge, before we get too far away from it, I don't want to. Sorry, but Darren Grice suggested we go to Narrow Gauge Brewery, and I did, and he suggested I try the Fallen Flags IPA. Which anybody knows me, I'm not an IPA guy, but I was gonna sample it to see what he said was amazing. They didn't have it. They didn't have it right now, seasonal maybe. So didn't get to try that, but I did have the Nanners and Nilla oat wine, which was really good. I tweeted a picture of it out. It was a smaller pour, like a maybe 6 ounces, I guess, maybe 4 ounces, 6 ounces. I think it was 6, but it was good. And you could tell why narrow gauge continually wins like best brewery in St. Louis honors, because I could tell by this beer that it was just well done. It was you could taste the bananas, you could taste the vanilla, and it was just it was a good beer. It was kind of like a barley wine, but this was an oat wine, and it was good. And Amy had the porter, which had a strong coffee finish, and they both were very good. So well done, narrow gauge. Well done. And that's my review for the narrow gauge brewery. They had I tried those 2 beers, and positive things. Good job. There you go, Darren. Okay. So you think Bennington starts both games against Vegas? Jeff, you mentioned that as something that might happen.
120%. Yes. And the only reason it might not is if in the game 1 he gets blown up.
Yeah.
And it's just, let's see what, maybe Husso comes in, plays great. So they say, let's go with Husso in game 2. But barring that, I think he gets both games.
I think if Bennington gets lit up in game 1 and gets pulled, I think he starts game 2.
You do?
I'd like to see that, because you could spin this any way you want. You could spin it to where, let's get Bennington right back out there, give him a chance to redeem himself against the very next night against the Knights. Or you could say, obviously you get Husso some work the night before at the end of the game to then get him amped up for the next game. So you could spin it either way. But I can totally see if the Blues get lit up, Bennington gets lit up in the first game, doesn't play particularly well, I can see him going right back to him. I mean,
I'd be fine with that.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think if anything, the start of Husso in San Jose says that we shouldn't bank on any set stretch. I think Bennington gets the first game, and it could just be up in the air who gets the second game. I mean, even if the Blues, say they lose 3-2, go to Husso the next night, it's not going to surprise me. I don't think we're at goalie controversy level yet, but I think right now that they're in a part of the season that why not go with the other guy? Husso has been quietly good.
Yeah, and I guess depends on how. Not just if Bennington gets lit up. If he does, I'm not saying he will. He might not. He might play well. But if he doesn't look good, then I mean, I'm sure the decision has not been made yet. It's going to be how things look in the first game. It's got to be, because if Bennington looks bad, then I'm all like, oh, he looks terrible. Then I guess any decision is not going to shock me for game 2. Klim Kostin appears okay after taking a nasty spill and injuring his shoulder. That looked nasty. He looked like he was in some major pain. And I thought, great. Yeah. He needs surgery. He's done.
Yeah, I mean, he was like hunched over, like grabbing his shoulder the whole way off. And I thought, dude, that might be it. That might be Klim Kostin's career.
Because he's got shoulder problems from before.
Yeah.
That was a big deal. And you're like, oh, man, he's writhing in pain, holding his shoulder going off. That's like, nobody thought it was good. And then he plays the next game in like 9 minutes or something. And so they're in the playoffs, by the way, in the KHL. So that's
there was a bit of conjecture that he could potentially come over after the playoffs or whatever.
But they advanced, so that delays any chance of him coming over at least sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. But I mean, it's experience for him. Sure. So at the end of the day, you want that. But I mean, right now it'd be really nice to see him in a Blues jersey.
I think he'd be playing right now if he were here.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It totally replaces Sanford, right, Curt?
I was gonna say, yeah. Well, outside of Sanford,
I really would.
Outside of Sanford, if you're Craig Berube and Klim Kostin's available, Are you taking somebody out? Who are you taking out? And yeah, what line is he on?
Oh, I mean, you play him third line, don't you? And you take out a Walker. You take out a.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
I think Walker's the guy that goes.
Yeah.
Walker probably.
And I don't have a problem with Walker.
And depending on how much longer these injuries go, I think you might see like a situation where it's, one game you see Walker, one game you see Kostin.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you will see him here before the season's over, especially with the injuries where they are. We're not getting a number of players back for a little while. So assuming I don't want to root for his team to lose in the playoffs, but the sooner they get dumped, the sooner he would be over here. So there's that.
We've heard stories in the past about players like boarding planes like right after their team loses to come play in the NHL. I think he's one of those guys that would do that. I think knowing the injury issues they have now in St. Louis, I think they lose in the playoffs. At the very least, the next morning he's boarding a flight to come to St. Louis.
I'm excited about it. I think in a couple games that he had with us prior, he was. I mean, I liked watching him. I mean, you could tell he was young and raw, but it was you liked his potential as a middle six guy, maybe. So hopefully we see him and he can produce and stay healthy. My God, his shoulder.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's legal at this age, so I would say that maybe if he ever wants to come to St. Louis, Klim Kostin, if you're listening, I'll buy you a beer. We can meet up at Center Ice Brewery.
Center Ice Brewery is St. Louis's only hockey-themed brewhouse. Stop on in during the next game to experience the ultimate hockey fan brewery while sampling various hockey-inspired beers, such as Old Arena Lager, the Beauty IPA, the Rotating Pale Ale Series, or seasonal offerings such as their Imperial Stout, their Lime Sherbet Sour, and much more. While you're there enjoying any number of their fantastic beverages, you can admire the bar top and tables made of authentic arena wood and the actual penalty box door from the old barn. Located at 3126 Olive Street in Midtown St. Louis, it's one of the best places to watch a Blues game, or any game. Visit centericebrewery.com today to schedule a no-contact curbside pickup or make a reservation in the tap room. Center Ice Brewery. Let's go Blues. Please drink responsibly. They didn't break out and every time I have to ask Bill what the name of that damn horn is that they...
Vuvuzela.
I keep wanting to say Vuvuzela. Vuvuzela.
Venezuela.
Venezuela, yeah. Venezuela, Costa Rica. They didn't break it out for the Blues goals in the early portion of the game I was there, which maybe it's just a thing when Brody's back. He gets to blow the Vuvuzela. Vuvuzela. Gotta remember that. I remember the Vuvu part. It was the Zela part that I had a problem with.
Muscle memory, Kurt. Keep repeating it.
Vuvuzela. So the new deal, the NHL on ESPN. Do we like it, guys? So the NHL and ESPN 7-year deal starting next season. This is a deal that is kind of like a groundbreaking kind of deal. So streaming rights, media rights, 7-year deal, exclusive coverage of the Stanley Cup Final on ABC for 4 of the 7 years, half of the Stanley Cup playoffs on ABC and ESPN each season, 25 exclusive national regular season games on ABC or ESPN, 75 national regular season games will stream exclusively on both ESPN Plus and Hulu, and out-of-market streaming packages, formerly NHL TV, available only as part of ESPN Plus subscription. So I know Jeff and I have talked about this a little bit. So Bill, your thoughts on this before Jeff and I bash heads?
All I had to do was hear the theme song once again, and I'm back on board. I love it. I like the idea. I think NBC's had a pretty good run. Fill the soul.
And Bill, I'll add, I'm just going to add to your comment, Bill. Welcome to the cool side of the pillow. That's
Thank
my
you,
thoughts
Stuart.
too.
R.I.P.
Stuart
Huh?
Scott.
Yeah.
No, I think the coming out of the lockout and going from OLN to Versus to NBC Sports, and then NBC Sports now looking at recasting their whole lineup. I think from a timing perspective, it makes sense. The NHL rebuilt its brand, and things are evolving. I think that the most curious part about it is and I didn't catch this the first time I read about it. If you want the NHL out of market package now, you have to go through ESPN Plus. Right, it's no longer NHL.tv. It's not a standalone kind of thing, and that shows the evolution in the right way of how streaming is starting to affect the landscape of sports broadcasting. I think it's the exact opposite of what is happening with the jokers at Sinclair Media, who by the end of the season, we very well may be seeing games back for those of us that stream through Hulu TV or YouTube TV, because they just got destroyed back beginning of the month. Their earnings came out, and they got destroyed because of the loss of revenue from not getting into so many households. So it's I think the ESPN way is the right way to go here.
We've come a long way since the days of games being on, 75% of the games being on Channel 11 with no games on pay TV, and then all of a sudden Prime Sports entering the arena. And the outrage that was amongst Blues fans that, oh my God, I got to pay to watch Blues hockey? What? It's on TV? And then it's never been the same. That changed things forever. The move to Prime, and then Fox Sports came on the scene, and so I think I think, and I know I may disagree with both of you on this, or I may. Okay, so I may like this deal if ESPN comes through and gives hockey the coverage and the attention that hockey fans want ESPN to give it. But I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, they're going to televise the games that they have listed here, and it may get more coverage on SportsCenter, which it obviously will, because they're showing more games. But my reservation with it is that I remember the past history that ESPN and the NHL had. And while I loved games on ESPN, I loved Gary Thorne and Bill Clement calling games. It was fantastic. Every time, you watch a game on TV and you click on SportsCenter, and hockey's never in the first half of the show. They never lead off the SportsCenter. They're always pushed back. The highlights they show for basketball games, they show 25 highlights for each game. They're showing 2 or 3 for each hockey game. It's just, it was always watered down coverage. They had Barry Melrose, they had Buccigross on there for little segments during SportsCenter and things, but the little 2-minute segment with Melrose and Buccigross was like 90% of their coverage for hockey during SportsCenter. And so if that changes, they're going to have more programming, which was a good thing. But so we'll see how it goes. I'm optimistic, but I'm not going to be surprised if the same complaints start popping up as far as the way they drool over the NBA and other sports, and NHL is just like the bottom tier sport for them. If you go on their website, I don't know, in the menu, I think someone posted a screenshot of the menu. Hockey is like 20th on the list of sports on their website on the pull down. So they have disrespected the NHL for a long time, and especially since they haven't aired any games. So I'm hopeful that changes drastically, but I'm not going to be shocked if it doesn't. That's where I stand on it.
Yeah. I'll add real quick. You mentioned Gary Thorne and Bill Clement. Let's not forget Steve Levy.
Yes, Steve Levy.
very happy to have Steve Levy back calling games. And
Oh,
if Gary,
absolutely.
we'll talk about Gary Thorne here, I'm sure, in a minute. But if Gary Thorne doesn't come back, Steve Levy's your number one guy for the big games. He's your Mike Emmerich, and I'm more than happy with that. But anyway, and let's not forget, you mentioned how hockey's been kind of pushed to the side here by ESPN, especially when they're not covering it. And Curt, this is something I know I said to you when we were talking about this earlier. ESPN is a self-promoting tool. I hate ESPN. I'm not gonna lie, and I'll say this in 2 years. I hate ESPN. I hate the way they promote sports. It's we cover this sport, so we're going to promote it. But if we don't cover you, we're not going to promote you. And I hate that way of thinking. If you want to promote, if you've got advocates for cricket in ESPN, then you should promote cricket. But they don't show it on ESPN, so they're never going to talk about it. And it's the same with hockey. It drives me crazy. I can't stand that bullshit because it's all about watch ESPN. Don't watch the other channels. We don't want you watching NBC Sports. We want you watching ESPN. That drives me crazy. If you want to promote sports, you should do it the right way. But I will say, for the betterment of the sport, I think getting on ESPN, having eyeballs, people, back in the day when the NHL was on ESPN, ESPN2 mostly, I guess, I used to just turn on SportsCenter and just watch it. And just,
me too.
It'd be late at night, and I'd say, whatever, there's nothing on, maybe Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is on Channel 6, but SportsCenter's on. And they're running it all night. I'm just going to watch SportsCenter. And I'd stay up and just watch that. And I know there are still people to this day who do that. And the minute hockey left ESPN, I stopped doing that because it was just, they're not going to talk about the NHL, so I'm not going to fucking watch it because I don't care what the Indiana Pacers did tonight. So, and that's all the top highlights are going to be your dunks from the NBA. So I 100% agree in the fact that ESPN needs to do a better job of promoting the sport. But what has NBC Sports done since they've taken over, whether as OLN or Versus or NBC Sports Network, that makes you say, oh, well, they're moving to ESPN, they're going to get undercovered? Because they're already not covered enough on NBC Sports. And I'm not just saying because NBC Sports isn't a staple for sports fans. I'm saying that even though the fact that NBC Sports has the rights to the NHL right now, they still, to me, don't do enough to cover the sport. We see here's the games going on tonight. And, we're covering this game and this game on the East Coast. But what about the nights they don't have the NHL? It's bullshit sports that none of us care about. So
make them auto auctions.
Even if ESPN goes back to the way they did things, you're still going to get more eyeballs on the sport, which at the end of the day is what we want. We want the sport to be more promoted.
I agree with the eyeballs on the sport thing, but I think a lot of fans are setting themselves up for, I guess it's the idea of being on ESPN and the opportunity to have all of this great programming and the opportunity for this major, the number one sports network to promote the hell out of the sport that we love, and then to just see them not do it the way that they could. And I think that's just disappointing. And that was the whole point. When they left ESPN, I was happy. I was like, even though it was a lesser network, I'm like, you know what? I get that station. I'll watch the shit out of it because they're going to have more programming. I mean, granted, the Meekum auctions thing with NBC Sport, whatever. But at least the network acted like they cared about it. They ran commercials. They may not have had as much programming as maybe you would like to have seen them have, like an hour show a night on the NHL or whatever at the end of the evening, which I think NBC Sports does. But at least that was their, like with Versus, that was their the NHL was the thing. Now, granted, a lot of people didn't get that network, but it was nice to see a network, even though it wasn't near as popular as ESPN. It was nice to see a network take the NHL and at least act like they loved it, and to show games. And I just, SportsCenter bothers me because they love the NBA. And for those that love the NBA, that's fine. But for hockey fans that don't care about the NBA, SportsCenter sucks. It really does,
Right.
because that's all they care about.
Right, and I'm in the same boat, as Jeff. I haven't watched SportsCenter. I think the only time I have watched SportsCenter was when I tried to force myself to join the gym at work, and that was all that was on.
Yes,
and that was 10 years ago. At this point, I mean, at this point, let's face it, we have a lot more options. When the NHL was on ESPN, Twitter and YouTube weren't things, right? You couldn't get your daily, dose of hockey by just watching YouTube clips. You can do it now. We get our hockey fix through other areas. I'm not going to go back to watching SportsCenter. It is not a thing that I do. I don't care enough about the other sports. I'm not a big fan of NFL football. I'm not a fan of NBA basketball. And I really my interest in baseball has completely disappeared at this point in my life, and it's sad because I used to be such a diehard baseball fan. Now it's like, I've time for hockey, and I've picked up soccer because it time wise it worked for me, and now I'm into it. But I'm not, them going back to ESPN is not going to get me to start watching SportsCenter again. I'm going to watch the hockey content. If they bring back NHL tonight, if Bucci does NHL tonight, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
Right. That's the one thing that I really think that was a big miss for NBC. They didn't have a dedicated program. Everything was push over, if you want to watch extended NHL highlights. If they have a game on that night, you'll get some, but otherwise you got to flip over to NHL Network. And guess what? I don't get NHL Network now.
That's one question I have.
most people don't.
Yeah. If
Right.
NHL Network, this little thing would tilt the scales for me massively. If NHL Network is part of Hulu now, the next season, then I'm loving this, because I refuse to pay up a package or two on my cable provider or whatever network whatever provider I have for my TV, just to watch NHL Network. I'm not going to pay an extra whatever it is per month just to watch one more station. Even though I love NHL Network, I'm not doing it. It's for one station. It pisses me off that if you want to watch NHL Network, you got to pay the premium package price for whatever fucking streaming service or cable provider or dish provider you have. It pisses me off. But if they're on Hulu, that's different, because that's 24-hour hockey programming.
Yeah, I mean, is ESPN getting, the big question, because we both did the same thing, right? The one property that NHL Network has that nobody else in the States carries is the World Juniors, and both of us did the same thing. We got a free trial to was it Fubo?
Yeah.
Because you could get that tier to watch NHL Network, and the second that the tournament was over, cancel. Right.
Yep. Yeah. It's expensive.
If ESPN picks that, picks up the World Juniors, because they're doing hockey again, all the better. Even if they put it on the Ocho, I'm gonna watch it.
So Kylo Rat in the YouTube chat says Spectrum has NHL Network on their $5 sports pack now. Don't have to upgrade to silver or gold anymore. Is that streaming only, or is that a new thing with Spectrum for their actual cable service? Because for $5, I'd pay that for NHL Network. I'd watch the shit out of that for $5.
Yeah, I think that's their actual cable package.
Wow, that's different then. I didn't know that. That is that new? That's got to be fairly new, right? Huh. Well, I'll look into that.
Yeah, it must be because just when we were looking at what could we do to get the World Juniors, and the loss of Fox Sports on YouTube TV. I was looking at going back to Spectrum, and the decision that came down to I would have to actually rent a box from them again, and decided against doing it.
See, I'm in the process, and I've been in the process for the past probably year and a half, actually, of losing my Spectrum DVRs and going full-blown TiVo in my house. I have a TiVo DVR already, and you pay per month for each of these DVRs, and I have I have two of them. Yeah, I still have two here. So that'd be, I don't know what it is, $5 or $6, $7, $8 a month for each DVR, whatever it is. So if I could just ditch those, and then I'm easily pay the $5 for initial network with the money I'm saving. Because I pay a lot now for cable, which I years ago I considered cutting the cord and going streaming for everything, when your choices were a couple of things, 2 or 3 things. Now, if you want to watch stuff, you got to get like 6 different streaming packages. It's starting to piss me off that. And I'm just like, you know what? I've never switched from cable. I'm fine where I am, paying for 6 streaming packages, and it costs me whatever per month, not that far off from what I'm paying now. So I don't know.
So while we're on the subject of ESPN, I got to read this tweet because this is just perfect. I think it captures so much of the lazy American sports fan ideology about why the NHL will want to go back to ESPN. This is from Connor McKenna. The last NHL game ever aired on ESPN was Tampa-Calgary Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final in 2004. I'm looking forward to millions of American viewers next year being impressed that Daryl Sutter still coaches the Calgary Flames.
That's awesome.
That's great.
I haven't checked out NHL in 17 years. Let's go check out the
Hey,
new
it's
stuff.
Bitter Beer Face.
Hey, he's still there. Yeah, that's funny.
Still there. That's hilarious.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. No, I'll just add one more thing about all this is I think so about 8 years ago, and Bill, you mentioned the thing about being at the gym and SportsCenter being on, and it's like, well, fuck, there's nothing else on, I'll just watch SportsCenter. So about 8 years ago, same thing. I was at the gym, and they had their NHL segment on SportsCenter, and it was a night where like there was a bunch of stuff happening. Connor McDavid scored like his first NHL hat trick. Well, that probably wasn't 8 years ago, but whatever it was like a bunch of big news happened. They literally ran through it in about 2 minutes, and it was just done. Yep. And it was like, whoa, there's a lot of stuff you could have talked about tonight. So it was frustrating. And you got to think that even with, the questions of how they covered the sport years ago and, how much coverage they really put on the NHL versus the other sports, just having a little bit more, that 2 minutes expounded to about 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. That's more than people are seeing at NBC Sports. And I think that's what's good for the sport.
I think the biggest barometer for me as to how successful they're really aiming to be is whether they go with Barry Melrose as their premier personality to talk about hockey. Barry Melrose is so irrelevant to the sport of hockey in 2021.
He was irrelevant to the sport of hockey when he was coaching the Kings.
Yeah.
Right. It's ridiculous that they've kept rolling him out. If he's if he has a niche segment somewhere, great. But if he's going to be the guy that they bring on to break down the games, God, that spells trouble.
Do you know what they need to do?
Come on, guys.
They need to give him coach's corner spot like Don Cherry used to have. Just a
I
few
was
minutes,
gonna say that too.
just 5 minutes. Just let him go and do his thing, and then just go back to normal talk.
But come on, Bill. I mean, you're really overlooking the fact that he coached the Tampa Bay Lightning for about 4.5 minutes.
That is true.
He benched Steven Stamkos, and it was, okay, get out of here.
You know what? I mean, Melrose is. I'll give him that he's entertaining, but it's not always in a good way when it comes to hockey talk. Like you said, Bill, irrelevant was a good word. Irrelevant to, yeah. I mean, when he's on TV talking, will I pay attention? I'll look up. It's hockey talk. I'll listen to it. But yeah, surely he'll be part of something on the network. He's going to be.
Curt, I'm 100% with you. I think a coach's corner spot, like a Saturday night game, you have whatever you want to call it, hockey night in the U.S. or whatever. You give him a spot in the intermissions to talk about whatever's big in the NHL. Boom, that's it. That's all you need from him at this point.
Because him and Don
I'm
Cherry,
all about Steve Levy.
Him and Don Cherry are, they're not that far
Steve
apart.
Levy and Butcher Gross, give me that all day. I will hook that to my veins.
And I don't know, I don't know what Ferraro's got a pretty good contract up in Canada, but hook up Butcher Gross with Ferraro, chicken parm, bring him in, bring him into studio. That would be beautiful.
Friend of the show.
Yeah.
Friend of the show.
Parm.
Ray Ferraro, friend of the show. I guess we're already in rapid fire hockey tidbits. So we've been talking about it for a while. Also, around the league, draft lottery changes are being proposed. The NHL is proposing changes to the draft lottery that would see teams limited to no more than 2 lottery wins in a 5-year period. Teams only allowed to jump 10 spots with a lottery win, and a reduction in the number of picks decided by lottery from 3 to 2. So they're looking to change things, I think, based on the way things panned out last year.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm sure Adam Gold will have thoughts in the YouTube or Facebook chat.
It's the first thing I thought of was that, how do the goal plan?
Yeah,
the goal plan,
the goal plan?
Yeah, where is it?
Wow. Speaking of Adam Gold, he adds in the Facebook chat, holy ... McKinnon had 10 shots on goal tonight.
He played tonight? I didn't think he was going to play.
Apparently he played and he had 10 shots on goal.
Huh. I thought he was
I'm going
hurt.
to trust Adam.
Okay. No, I for some reason I was thinking he was hurt. Okay. Golly, 10 shots. Patrick Kane counts to 1,000. You shared this, Jeff. That is one of the weirdest things. The Blackhawks social media team posted this. They had Kane do a counts to 1,000, like counting sheep kind of a thing, to put you to sleep. Real what's the word? Tantric, kind of a sleepy voice, a soothing voice to help you relax and go to sleep. And he just counts to 1,000. It's so
for those of you listening
obscure.
live, I'm posting it in both chats right now. Yeah, it's very. I mean, because it's funny because last night my wife and I were just sitting there and I saw this and I'm like, this is hilarious. And I started playing it. She's like, what the hell are you listening to? And I'm like, it's Patrick Kane. He's counting to 1,000. Don't you want to hear it? And so in the middle of the night later, like I even said, I go, later in the night, I'm going to play this while you're sleeping. And we were both laying in bed. I could tell she was about maybe 3 minutes from passing out. And I just went to like a random spot in the line and he was at like 632 and I just played it 632, 633, 634. And she turns around and she goes, will you turn fucking Patrick Kane off? I don't want to hear his voice right now.
You hear that?
Mm-hmm. It's coming.
Just go to a random spot. Yeah, go to a random spot.
331. 332. 333.
It's just
334. 34.
That's it. I'm not sure what I expected, but that's what it is. And
It literally is him counting to 1,000.
What the hell? Man, only that. Counts to 1,000. At the end, he talks about relaxing and and good night Chicago, stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie. If O'Reilly or Bennington were to do that, I'd be all over it. That'd be hilarious.
I think it's fantastic.
So funny. And weird. It's just so obscure and weird.
Yeah.
Now give me Esa Tikkanen doing that.
Yes. Oh man.
Oh.
Yeah, give me Oscar Sundqvist.
Tikkanen in his accent. Yeah, that's funny.
And then he was there. Yeah.
He's not. There's nothing relaxing about his voice. that'd be actually the anti Patrick Kane would be. Oh, who? Yeah. Surely he has a good sense of humor, right? The Oilers should get him to count to 1,000.
What about Ovi? Ovi would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, would he be as soothing though as Patrick Kane?
No, he wouldn't.
Kane did a good job.
He'd be fun to listen to though.
Kane
Oh, he actually did.
Yeah,
I'm shocked. That's the one time I will compliment Patrick Kane. He did a good job counting to 1,000.
He can use that on dates to kind of like hypnotize the women he goes out with his.
Oh,
what?
We're getting into some dark territory here.
No, it's. Oh, wow! I wasn't going there. Oh my God, Jeff, what kind of mind do you have? I was just talking like fun, just hey, who doesn't like someone being hypnotized? That's hilarious. You ever been who hasn't been hypnotized? You guys been hypnotized?
I've been hypnotized.
Did you actually go under and
yeah? Oh yeah.
Like
it was my senior year of high school. We the senior night, right? What's it called? The senior night. They had a hypnotist come at the end of the night in the lock-in, and I pissed my girlfriend off because every single guy that was hypnotized, they had us dance. They're like, "Oh, you're going to dance with the prettiest girl you know." And every guy up there said their girlfriend's name, and then they came to me and the guy said, "So who are you dancing with?" And I said, "Jennifer Love Hewitt." Oh, she was not happy.
But it's a celebrity, Jennifer Love Hewitt. You can't really.
And she was like number one for my graduating class. Like everybody had a crush on Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah, and the guys who said their girlfriends were lying.
Yeah, they weren't actually hypnotized. I actually was.
There was in my high school, we had a hypnotist come. It wasn't for senior night or anything. It was like I'm not sure what it was for. It was some kind of assembly and like Spirit Week or I don't know, something with that. So all the school was in the gym and they pulled out, I don't know, 10, 12 students and some teachers and they hypnotized and, some took and some didn't. So the ones that didn't take, they put back in the crowd and they had some fun with a few that were on stage still. But one guy, they had trouble kind of bringing him back. At least that was the rumor. They took him after it was over. They had issues with, which is kind of a weird thing. I don't know if you, I've never really looked into the science of being hypnotized or how real that is or what happens. But what I heard is that they had trouble bringing one guy back and he had trouble remembering things after they brought him back. And so he was like in the office with hypnotist for a while. That was weird.
Wow.
Yeah.
That did not happen to me.
Apparently he was like Office Space hypnotized, like really deep, and into it. He was just so far gone.
Yeah, for me it was the hypnotist just had to he snapped his fingers and I looked around and I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, I was just hypnotized." But then I started remembering dancing, you're dancing with the prettiest girl you know. I actually remembered dancing with Jennifer Love Hewitt. In my mind, I danced with Jennifer Love Hewitt. It was so weird.
Is she here?
Yeah, I was like, "Where's Jennifer? Where'd she go?"
BFF. Tom Wilson was suspended 7 games for his hit on Brandon Carlo. Good old Tom Wilson.
Are you shocked?
Nope.
7 games. I mean, he's had a 7-game suspension before, I believe. And I don't know. It's Tom Wilson. It should have been more. Should have been 10 plus.
Yeah. When you asked if I was surprised, I took it that you meant am I surprised that he was suspended? I was like, no.
That's what I meant.
Okay. The games I would, I despise. I mean, Tom Wilson's a good player. I've always said with him that he doesn't have to play that way, but he just doesn't know how to hit people the right way. He just doesn't do it right, and he gets busted all the time. So yeah, it should have been more games for him. I agree. Walter Gretzky passed away on March 4th at the age of 82. He suffered a hip injury 3 weeks prior, battled Parkinson's for a while. So the hockey community mourns Wayne Gretzky's father passing away. I saw a cool comic of Walter Gretzky just holding a hose, filling up a backyard rink with wings on his back, like he was in heaven, doing it for the kids up there. That was kind of cool. I like that.
Bill, you of all people might have seen this. Waking Up Wally. Did you ever see that?
No, I knew about it, but I didn't. I never got around to checking it out.
So it's
definitely
so
on the
for
list
those that
now.
don't. Yeah, so for those that haven't seen it, I think it was a Canadian TV broadcast. It was like made for TV movie, and it was called Waking Up Wally, and it was about basically Walter Gretzky, and Wayne, obviously Wayne playing in the NHL, and Walter kind of struggling with Parkinson's and even forgetting his son at one point, and like trying to get back to a point where he could remember his life. And it's a little cheesy. It's an early 2000s TV movie in Canada, so it's, I'm not saying the production value's phenomenal, but it does give you a little insight into who Walter Gretzky was. So if you can find that on, I should probably look it up for the show, but if it's on a streaming service, definitely look that one up. Waking Up Wally is what it's called. Just a good idea of who Walter Gretzky was. And from all accounts, I mean, obviously Wayne Gretzky grew up to be a wonderful man, a guy who gives to charity, a guy who, cares about the sport more than anything else in his life, except maybe his own kids. Obviously learned that from somebody. So, Walter Gretzky, the greatest hockey dad of all time, from all accounts. Sad to see him pass.
They still lived in the same house that they did when Wayne was growing up. They never moved. All the money that Wayne Gretzky earned throughout his career could have bought his parents a bigger, nicer house, and they just stayed in the same place, same town, same house. Darren Pang said he went to the house a number of years ago and interviewed him or something, and or just a visit. I'm not sure what the purpose of the visit was, but said he looked out the kitchen window at the backyard where they used to watch, Wayne play in the back rink. So he said it was kind of surreal. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I heard a story a couple of years ago, it might have been somebody else, of Wayne Gretzky offering to buy them a new house when he got a big payday from the Kings of the Oilers. And they just said, no, this is where we raised you. We don't want to leave.
I respect the hell out of that.
They lost their mom about 10 years ago, right? I can't remember the exact year.
Yeah, it was a while back.
Yeah. So, yeah, they both apparently said, like, no, we want to stay here. This is where we raised our kids, and, we're happy to stay, which I can relate to. We keep trying to get my mom to move out of her house, and she says, no, this is where I raised my kids. I ain't leaving.
Yeah.
Yep, I know that one too.
So after the show, I don't know, there's some folks that might be in the Discord server. letsgoblues.com/Discord, DISCORD. I don't know if you guys are going to hop in there. I might hop in for a little bit just to see if anyone's in there.
Yep.
So we, some of us will be in there. So if you want to go check that out, letsgoblues.com/Discord. If you're not already a member, if you are, just open a Discord and hang out for a little bit. I guess that'll wrap this show up, guys.
I'm going to shower first, but I will join you in Discord.
Okay. All right. You should shower.
No, we're gonna hold you to your YouTube comment. You're gonna be on Discord in the shower.
Yeah, no video this week though. I don't want to.
I won't turn on. I won't turn on video.
We have to make our Discord server private. We want to keep it public if we can. All right. So support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming products. Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with code LGB. There's gold at the end of the rainbow with Manscaped. And by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment of your DNA. Visit rockinthatidlife.com for more information. That's rockinthatidlife.com. And get 10% off by texting Dustin at 636-393-8745. And tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. That's text only with that number, 636-393-8745. And by Sunrise Brewery, St. Louis's hockey-themed brewery. Visit Sunrise Brewery today to schedule a no-contact curbside pickup or to make a reservation in their awesome tap room. While you're there and enjoying a number of their fantastic beers, you can admire the bar top and tables made of authentic arena wood. Located at 3126 Olive Street in Midtown St. Louis. It's one of the best places to watch a Blues game. That's sunrisebrewery.com. Please drink responsibly. That will wrap up episode 26 of season 9 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the live show. We hope you enjoyed them as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. For Jeff Ponder and Bill Day, I'm Curt Price. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues.
Go Habs, go. Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
The Chiefs are at home tonight against Cyanosport at the War Memorial at 8. Good seats are still available.
A look at sports.
I think that went very well.
Thank you for listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. Now take off, hosers.
I want you to have a heart attack and die so that we never have to do this shit again.
Well, there's 90 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Sorry.
St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Blues. Have you heard the news about our St. Louis Blues? They've only just begun, they're on their way to number 1. Now there's no more blues for our St. Louis Blues. The Blues are on the ice tonight again.